70% of my audience here on YouTube is above the age of 30. That other 30% of you guys in that 18 to 29 age group, I feel bad for you. What are they calling you guys? Zennials or Gen Z? Whatever you're called. Your generation's been cheated. The generation coming behind you, they are the most cheated generation we've ever seen. You have been robbed of your freedom of speech. You have been robbed of your freedom of expression. We no longer have true freedom of speech here in America. Now, sure, we are able to speak more freely than most other countries. We have it a hell of a lot better here than the people living in China or countries in the Middle East. The Middle East, that is one fucked up place. Of all the places on earth, the Middle East is the last place I want to be. They're still living in biblical times over there. What kind of men create laws where women have to be covered head to toe? What kind of shit is that? Here in America, men see a woman wearing a bikini, they stop and stare. Over in the Middle East, they see a woman wearing a bikini, they fucking stone her. Doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, we no longer have true freedom of speech here in America. You are only allowed to speak freely if you identify as a woke dumbass. Social justice warriors have worked tirelessly to suppress speech in this country. They knew that they would never be able to achieve this through the court system. The virgins knew they would never get rid of the freedom of speech, the First Amendment. So instead, they have limited your ability to speak under the guise of protecting you or protecting groups of people. You can't say that. It's misogynistic. It's racist. You can't say that. It's transphobic. You might offend less than 1% of the population who can't figure out what to do with their dinger. When I was growing up, dudes didn't need the school system to explain to us what to do with our dong. We kind of just naturally figured it out. Today, we have teachers helping children with their sexual identity. Listen, Tom, if you don't like your dinky, that's okay. I can take you down to the school nurse who identifies as non-binary, and it will walk you through the penis removal process. America is not the only country that's dealing with the fungus of woke. This disease has spread around the world. We are taking virginity global. We have talked many times about the woke fungus over in Europe. Today, I'm going to show you an example of how the disease has spread into Canada. Now, I'm not too familiar with the mainstream media in Canada. I obviously know the media here in America very well, but I'm also familiar with the mainstream media in Europe. Canada, not so much. I don't know much about Canadian media. Judging by their reaction to this story, it appears the Canadian media is just like the American media, which means they are completely fucking useless. Last Friday night, there was a BCHL playoff game between Alberni Valley and Langley. This is junior hockey in British Columbia. These are teenagers playing, 16, 17, 18-year-old young men. Now, I didn't go through gender confirmation of every player to confirm their gender, but these are all boys. There is no Leah Thomas polluting the BCHL with their bullshit. During the game, a mild altercation broke out between the players. I mean, this is hockey. I know social justice warriors get triggered by violence unless it involves large groups of nasty fucks rushing to CVS to steal hand lotion for the community circle jerk. But this is what happens in hockey. Fights break out. Bruce MacDonald, he is the longtime broadcaster for Alberni Valley. Yeah, they broadcast junior league hockey in Canada on radio and television. Here in America, you have a hard time finding the NHL on cable. In Canada, you can watch teenagers play on a Friday night. As the altercation was taking place, Bruce MacDonald made some comments about Langley forward Owen Kim. Owen Kim was the Langley player that was involved in the fight. He's 17 years old. I couldn't find much background info on Owen Kim. Not sure if he was born in Canada or somewhere in Asia. I don't know if he has a history of starting shit. There's just not much information available on Owen Kim. That's fine. But since he's a kid, I'm just going to assume he's a good kid. Judging by his stats, he's a pretty good hockey player. Anyway, Bruce MacDonald, he was not a fan of Owen Kim's actions last Friday night. Check out what he had to say.
Immediately from the officials. I
That's
barely saw it as I was watching the puck. Now Kim is going after home after the whistle again.
Ah, Kim. Give it a break. Get on a ladder and talk to him. Anyway, push the pace. You're going to draw penalties for sure. Does he speak English? Anyhow, maybe that's the problem.
Okay, come on. That's too far.
Oh, well, that's
No,
wrong.
that's too far.
That's wrong. That's too far.
All right, you just heard that clip. You just heard the comments. What is your initial reaction? Maybe you thought, a grown man, an adult, has no business talking about a 17-year-old kid like that. Owen Kim is 5'8". Most people consider that short for a dude. Bruce MacDonald took a shot at him over his height. Perhaps you thought he took a jab at his ethnicity by asking if he spoke English. Maybe you think Bruce MacDonald's comments were uncalled for. Maybe you even thought they were funny. There are many ways that you could take this. But let me ask you this. How many of you thought Bruce MacDonald's comments were racist? Anyone? Anyone? Am I the only one that didn't immediately jump to racism when I heard these remarks? If I were a member of the Canadian media, I would be the only one to think that, because the mainstream media in Canada jumped all over this opportunity of blatant racism. Headline at CBC Sports, racism has no place in hockey. Headline at Sportsnet, hockey broadcaster banned after making racist comment about player. Even Mediaite here in America called these racist remarks. I'm confused. Where is the racism here? 93.3 The Peak, the radio station Bruce MacDonald was on broadcasting the game. 93.3 The Peak immediately pulled him off the air. We have a zero tolerance policy for hate speech. Bruce MacDonald, who has been a part of Alberni Valley since day one, is now banned for life. Banned for life. Banned for life over this? This is what constitutes a lifelong ban in Canada? Dude makes one mistake and you end his career? This has nothing to do with Owen Kim being 17 years old. If he were 77 years old, Bruce MacDonald would still be banned for life. After the game Friday night, the apology tour officially began. 93.3 The Peak issued their apology. We cannot tolerate this bullshit. Not only did we fire Bruce MacDonald, we refused to give him a woke hug. We felt he no longer deserved the privilege of our fingers in his ass. The BC Hockey League, they apologized for what I don't know. Alberni Valley apologized again for what I don't know. It was apology after apology. Owen Kim, the victim of this blatant oppression. 20 years ago, hell, even 10 years ago, if something like this happened, Bruce MacDonald would have issued an apology on the air and everyone would have moved on. Maybe he seeks out Owen Kim personally and apologizes. Either way, we move on. Not today. No. Today, you must pay for your sins against wokeism. Bruce MacDonald broke one of the million woke commandments. Most of us are familiar with the 10 commandments. They've been the same for thousands of years now. The woke commandments, they're a little bit different. They are always subject to change. You can break a woke commandment and not even know it. Next thing you know, the Virgin Brigade on Twitter is calling for your woke hug privileges to be revoked and for you to be fired. Let me ask you this. If Owen Kim were Russian, Swedish, German, do you think Bruce MacDonald would be losing his job? Do you think there would be any outrage at all? No. Those groups don't check the woke boxes. We can sit here and debate all day whether Bruce MacDonald's comments were offensive. But it's not about that. That is not what this is about. That's what they want us to debate, so you miss the bigger point. This is another example of the suppression of speech. If you say something offensive, your career is over. But the thing is, who determines what's offensive? Is it the woke media? Their standards of offensive content are constantly changing. They spent 4 years making fun of Donald Trump's skin color. Orange man, bad. How is he so orange? Ask if someone speaks English, that's discrimination. Remember last summer when Stephen A. Smith said Major League Baseball can't market the league around Shohei Ohtani because he doesn't speak English? Stephen A., the righteous race baiter, was accused of being racist. They are limiting speech under the guise of protecting feelings. But this doesn't protect anyone but the people in power. For one, real life is not lived in a protective bubble. You can't protect people from criticism. But two, the reason they want people fearful to speak, they are conditioning you to stay silent. Why do you think they're freaking the fuck out about Elon Musk buying Twitter? For years, they have been able to use Twitter as their propaganda machine. Twitter is nothing but woke bullshit with no alternate opinion. And by alternate opinion, I mean factual information instead of propaganda. If they can condition people to keep their opinions to themselves, politicians can do whatever the hell they want. The First Amendment being freedom of speech, freedom of the press, that was not accidental. The founders of this country knew free speech was needed to keep the government in check. It's the same with the media, which is supposed to investigate the government, make sure they're not corrupt. Of course, that's not what the mainstream media does today, which is why it's so important for normal people to be able to speak freely. It's impossible to do that when you're constantly in fear of being canceled, being ridiculed. The free market can take care of itself. If someone has a platform and they're constantly offending people, they will lose their audience. There's no need for a cancel culture. The market can take care of itself. But let me know what you think of Bruce MacDonald's comments about Owen Kim. Should he have been fired for this? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.